screen like that. Get rid of this. All right. You can see my screen all good?
Yeah.
So yeah, I spent a lot of time. Well, how you been, by the way? Like since the last time we had a session about a week ago, right?
Yeah, a week ago.
I've actually spent a lot of time looking at at your games again, like I did last time.
Yeah.
So to reiterate, you remember last time how a lot of the sessions were largely on micro, right?
Yeah.
Now, looking at your VODs, it's so interesting. You're the first gold player that I've watched, or at the moment you're silver, but you know you're gold last season. So at the moment you're sitting it's having a bit of a bit of a rough season. It's all good. We can turn it around. But what I'm seeing is that your lane understanding, your wave management understanding, your micro is definitely a lot higher than the elo you're in, which is interesting because it means that there's some serious things going wrong.
Yeah.
And what I see is that you tend to get leads most games. You start off like 2-0 most games. But there are some and I'm thinking, okay, there's obviously some very key things going wrong, and there is, and we're going to get into that today. So, before we head in, I've picked out a few things from your VOD, so I've got them in tabs here. The first game we're going to go over is one where you're playing Syndra versus Akali. And the way I want to do this is we're going to probably go through this first VOD. Then we're going to go through a second VOD. I've got a bunch of notes here. And then I want to refer to a third VOD, actually. But I'm not going to be talking as much about the micro. Because I think your micro is quite good. And I think that's not where your problems are lying right now. And I think that we need to kind of hone in on what's actually stopping you from climbing at the moment.
Yeah.
Great. So jumping straight into this game. This was a really, really good example. And do you see everything all good?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, we'll kind of watch this through, and I think it's good to get context for the game. But I think your micro has improved a lot since our last session. You're punishing them when they walk up to CS. You're utilizing your range advantage in the early levels. You're not just mindlessly pushing like you were in a lot of your previous games. So you're actually doing a lot of the things that we spoke about in our last session. So this is really good in terms of level 1. You've gotten some nice little poke down. You're constantly weaving in auto attacks, punishing him for every minion he's going up to. This is really great. So, and I was saying this was the same thing you've been doing in a lot of your games. You've been utilizing that you're playing Syndra and getting some really good advantages in the early game. But where things kind of fall apart is literally kind of post first base.
Right.
So this is really great. Getting some nice little bit of poke off here. And we're not going to go into this too much here. And if you have any questions, feel free. But I think that this is not really important for us to go through. And you get an ignite. You actually could have killed him here, 100%.
Yeah, I could have, yeah.
But anyway, so let's skip this forward a little bit. You force him all the way back, and then you decide that Akali's based. So you end up shoving the minions in here and getting a recall for yourself. Everything's quite simple, self-explanatory, nothing too exciting. So this is the first mistake that I actually see you do quite a lot in your game is you have a strange view on itemization. So, okay, look at what you buy. You base on 420 gold.
Yeah.
So for some reason, you buy boots and then you buy a pink ward and a health pot. So the problem I see with this is that buying a health pot after you've already used 2 health pots is extremely gold inefficient. You're going to be using this health pot or health pots because you're not in just a slow scaling matchup. You are going to be playing quite aggressively and heavy trading in these matchups. Yes, Akali can't damage you too much, but it's always beneficial after you've used your 2 pots to just get a refillable. So what I would have done here is I would have just got a refillable and then a pink ward or something like I think refillable and a pink ward. Or
waited the 20 gold.
Or I could have even waited the 20 gold and got a refillable and boots. You know, you could have even done that. I just think that it's super gold inefficient to do what you did here. Because now you've already spent, think about it, you've already spent 150 gold on just health pots.
Yeah.
Already. Which is quite rough. So, now, so you get back to lane here. Okay, so first thing you should be thinking about is Akali doesn't have pots, which is, really good for you. He's also kind of screwed up, didn't really buy any pots. He just bought boots, which I think is okay versus Syndra, because having that movement speed versus a skill shot oriented champion is fine. But I like here how you kind of keep it in this position. You're poking Akali. This is all great. And you're punishing him when he walks up. Missed that Q, but it's not the end of the world. Again, like your lane fundamentals here are very solid. You're not... You haven't. It looks like you kind of have an intention. You're keeping the wave in a good spot. You're getting really good damage off, and you've chunked him already to half HP. He has no pots. You're in a pretty good position right now. And all right. So what do we see here? So we see, you're using pings when you don't see Akali, which is a good habit to get into. And then you see Akali here. So already you should be thinking about what do you want to do in this position? Like just looking at the game state. So you miss your E, whatever. You're still in a really, really good spot here. You've got the wave coming back. Oops, I don't know why that didn't work. Why is it not allowing me to draw here? Strange. Anyway, I don't know why it's not allowing me to draw. So weird. Anyway, so you've got the wave coming out of this tower. So when the waves bounce, right, you know that you're going to be able to slow push a wave.
Yeah.
What do you want to be able to do in this position? Do you want to push him in and reset? Do you want to push him in and poke him under tower? Do you want to push him in and roam? What do you want to be doing at the moment? And I think this is what I commonly see is that you don't use your wards, Zach.
Yeah.
And you get in these really good positions. Like, look at this lane position right now. You've got all these minions sitting here. You've got a really nice built wave. You just got full control. Akali has no pots. You're gonna hit level 6 in half. You're nearly halfway to level 6. Your ignite's coming up in 30 seconds. What you should be doing is already recognizing that it's coming out of this tower like this. You can lean onto what I'll do in between the waves right now is I would actually duck straight into. I don't know why I can't actually draw on this. Maybe because what's happening is when I'm over this. See, look, whenever I click on that, it's like, you know what I mean?
It's clicking the actual part.
Yeah. Anyway. So you can see what I mean. If you just ducked out of vision onto one side and put your pink in dot brush on bot side, you put a ward over on the ramp, you're going to have so much freedom to just poke this guy under tower and actually either kill him or deny him all this CS. Because remember, he's a melee champion. So you can just destroy this guy. But look what happens instead. So you're playing quite defensively here already. You're not really getting up in his face. You're already just kind of sitting here back, which, it's not the end of the world, but you're giving him free assist. And then you mindlessly just push it. And then you just recall. Look at that. And there's no reason for you to recall right now. Why do you need to recall? You don't have enough gold for Lost Chapter. It's not an amplifying tomb's not going to be the difference in this matchup. And the analogy I want to use, let's go back here. Have you seen that movie Ford versus Ferrari? The one with
good movie.
Right, so let's use that for an example. In a race, you're in a driving race, in Formula One or whether it's one of these Ford versus Ferrari. Notice how they use the pit stop. They don't constantly go in the pit stop. You use the pit stop when you have to use a pit stop. So I've got an analogy here. Think about it. Whenever you go back to base, or whenever you go into the pit stop, you lose momentum. You're losing position in the race. Think about it. You lose position in the race. You lose momentum in the race. You're giving up something. Whenever you're basing, and it's the same in League of Legends, when you're basing, it's not a zero-sum game. You're actually losing opportunity to get deep wards. You're giving them room to CS. You're giving them room to roam. You're giving them space. So that's the analogy I want you to think about basing. Only base when you need to base. You should be wanting to maximize your time on the map. And the more time on the map, the more pressure you're going to be able to exert, okay? So here's the first mistake. And here you should have denied all this CS to Akali. And this was really, really big because two reasons. And I also want to talk about warding a little bit here. So wards in general aren't just for you. Wards aren't just for, yes, they can help you achieve how you want to play out your lane. So obviously you could have identified earlier on here as the waves crashing out like this, that you want to build a big wave and kill this Akali under tower, right? So you can use waves for the first reason is that, okay, it's going to give me a side to lean so that I can play very aggressively and I can escape if the jungler comes. And it allows you to kind of play out your lane. But then also, the crazy thing about wards is that it if say the jungler then comes to your lane to help this Akali, and then you see the enemy Jack's jungle on a ward, it's going to tell your top laner that he's in an isolated 1v1. It's going to tell your bot lane that they're in an isolated 2v2. And then it's going to tell your jungler that the path that he's done, he can potentially set up a counter gank. He maybe can invade the enemy jungle. He can get a free reset. He knows that his laners are going to be safe. There is so many advantages to warding outside of your 1v1. And that's the mindset I want you to have with warding, is that it's not just you helping you achieve your lane. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So this is the first crucial mistake. And I actually see this happen a lot in your games where you sit on 2 wards. You've been sitting on 2 wards. Look at this. You've been sitting on 2 wards. I haven't used either of your trinkets by 5 minutes. That's been the case for 4 minutes, since 4 minutes already. Yeah. And you do this again. This base really is very, very low value, very low value. Yeah. And now you come back. You haven't really punished Akali at all because you built that wave and he was able to catch it all under tower. So this is the first big mistake here. So you're walking back to lane, and you've got your amplifying tomb. Still got your 2 wards and your pink ward. Okay. So let's see what we do now. So you're pinging missing, which is fine. You can probably assume that Akali is going to base.
Yeah.
Right? Which is fine. Okay, so then what do we see on the map here? We go back a little bit. We see Jack's show bot. Where is it? Just in a second. We see Jack's gank bot right now. Yeah. So already, I mean, I can't say this for sure, but if you had warded River before, it's unlikely that Jax would have been able to get into that position. I'm not sure the way he got in, but there is a chance that you actually would have saw Jax, and this would have actually saved your bot lane. So already, maybe and this is what Dopa talks a lot about in League of Legends, is it's all the small things that add up to create large advantages. And so, warding is one of those things as well. So already, when you see the jungler on the map, on the map, what does that mean to you? This should be telling you, ringing alarm bells in your mind. It should say a few things. It should say, okay, well, the jungler showed on the bot side of the map. That means their top lane is super vulnerable, right? That means that you can dive top, no one's going to be able to counter gank you. It also means that you're going to be on an isolated 1v1, so you can play super aggressive.
Yeah. Or
it can mean, you could push your lane and you could press tab to see if Jax is based or not, and actually potentially set up an invade and cheese Jax in his jungle.
Yeah.
So there's so many options. So you should already be thinking when the jungler shows on the map, it's so big for everyone involved. So that's what I would be thinking. And here you didn't look at top whatsoever. And then what happens here, you pan, look at top. You pan top for a microsecond. I'll go back here. You pan top for a microsecond. Whereas I'm going to try and pause it. And you see Shen top on, where is it? Look at that. You see Shen top on half HP. Imagine if you had already, as soon as Jax showed bot, you'd looked at top. Aatrox had been shoving in Shen this whole time. You could have shoved this wave in and literally went top and either forced Shen to back off, lose a crap ton of CS, or you could have dived Shen and killed him.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not saying, it may or may not have it. All I'm just saying is that use jungle position and showing on the map to allow you to do a lot more things. But you decide to slow build a wave, which is also good in these matchups because slow building a wave versus a melee champion like this allows you to get a lot more poke off. So you make this decision.
But there's much better options.
I think there is potentially better options. There's not always going to be the option there's not always going to be options to kill the side laner, but it's just, you should keep your eyes open for those opportunities. The other thing I was actually thinking about in the moment, if I was in this position, look at the red buff on the enemy team. Look how it's got the yellow icon, which means it's going to spawn soon. What I would have done if I were in your position, I do this all the time, is I would have did assist me ping on the red buff. And then I would have got my jungler. I would have shoved mid, and then I would have got my jungler to walk through mid and actually potentially set up an invade onto this red. Because then Jax, look, he just went bot. He would be low HP. He's going to walk straight to his maybe Krugs to red, and you can cheese him. So that's another thing you could have done. But again, this session is going to be very much based on macro and very much based on some creative ways you could push a lead. But okay, given you made this decision, you've got the wave in a very good position. You're getting some really nice poke off here. You could have killed him way earlier here as well, but you get a nice little kill. Bang. Great. So this is all good because you've got some really good wave position here. But what does this mean for you? You've used your ultimate. You've used your ignite. You need to shove this in.
Yeah.
Great. You shove it in. So you shove. And then you get a Q here. Get these minions. Bang. Bang. So what? Right now, your jungler starts. You got a Malphite jungle that's level 4 starting Infernal Dragon. Yeah. Why is this bad for you?
Because it means I can't recall because I gotta help him.
You really need to base for your Lost Chapter. And remember, you always got to bring it back to objectives that you're playing for. Lost Chapter is extremely important on Syndra. Knowing that you have now, Akali's going to have tempo on you, she's going to come back on the map. This is a really hard dragon for you to do. You're going to be now stuck in lane for ages because it's going to be, and this is I just don't like this dragon. If I were you, I would actually just either get these minions and just ping them back off and not do it. And because you can get this dragon whenever you want. That's the thing. Because you guys, you're winning mid so hard that you can literally get dragon whenever you want. And your bot lane, I think, was actually doing pretty good this game as well. You don't need to rush into doing this. Malphite is level 4. It's a really, really slow dragon. Maybe if you had a champion that does this faster and your bot lane was able to help straight away, then maybe. But I just don't like this from the perspective for you. So I think that's also something to think about and tie that. Remember, whenever these is objectives, whether it's a fight, maybe this is just a fight in the river, you should be looking to ping back because you need to play off your personal objectives. So anyway, you get the dragon, Akali comes back, clears your pink ward in the river, you get your blue buff, whatever. So now what do you need to do? Again, you want to be looking to reset. You're sitting on 1,400 gold. You don't have ultimate. You don't have ignite. You really need to reset. So, but what I see, and this is another thing, you don't really make an effort to create a recall opportunity. And look at this. You could have easily just recalled here. If you push this wave, instantly slam all your abilities. Q, auto. Keep going. Q, bang. Auto. If you slammed as much as you can on this minion, the next wave is a cannon wave, Zach. The next wave is a cannon wave. Akali can't clear cannon waves very well at all. She has no damage. She's actually rushed Mercury Treads. She really can't clear waves. So remember, you should be always tying it back to whenever you come back in lane, you need to be thinking about your game plan straight away. Am I looking to recall? Am I looking to create slow push waves and roam? Am I looking to invade the jungle? What do I want to do? It's very obvious in this specific point in time that you need to push and get back to base. So because you missed this opportunity, and the other thing here, sorry to go into micro, but you remember you should not be looking to use your E.
Yeah, not like that. Yeah.
Well, and remember, E is your only form of self-peel right now. Yes, you have flash, but your jungler's farming wolves, your bot lane's not even in lane, you have no river control, you have no wards, and you're using your E like that. So it's really, really scary in the first place. And you're using E so aggressively like this. Like, I would be shit scared right now. Like, just Jax can come behind you and, like, they can just all-in you down the long lane. You have to blow flash. Yeah. And what's the other reason that you should be recalling? Is that the rest of your team, I mean, your Malphite's just recalled here. And what I'll do is accept reality that you're going to maybe miss half a wave. And I'll just recall. But then you stay for so long on the map.
Yeah.
So this whole time, you've got a kill. You've got a lot of gold. All this time where you're sitting on the map, this is all missed opportunity. Notice how, like, you're not even pushing here. Like, you're each minute, each second you're spending in the lane, this is decreasing your chances of winning because you need to push the pace of the game here. And yeah, you nearly kill Akali.
He would have died there if I actually just recalled straight.
Imagine if you had recalled, you pump this guy.
And she was full health as well at the beginning of the trade. It's not like my earlier trades led up to that.
Yeah, exactly. She was full health and...
Oh, almost full health, but yeah.
And you did this without Ignite.
Yeah.
So
I would have, yeah.
There's so many things like that could have happened if you were just recalled. Like, And again, to think about this in terms of being replicable into your other games, you can kind of see where I'm coming from with recalls. Like recalls and like the pit stop analogy, you really need to be thinking about how can I push the pace of the game? And because you're champion pool, you love Syndra. Syndra is a champion where, yes, you're going to get a lot of solo kills, but gold kills aren't effective until you spend the gold.
Yes.
Very, very important. Okay, so anyway. So you're stuck in this lane for quite a while. You still haven't based. You're stuck here. And you haven't put a single deep ward on the map. You actually haven't used
a single ward.
You haven't placed a single ward in general. You haven't got a single roam off. You haven't actually exerted pretty much any pressure on the map.
No.
Even though you're winning your lane hard, you haven't done anything for the team. You haven't exerted any pressure. You haven't invaded. You haven't seen jacks for your team. You haven't roamed. This is why I think the mindset you have is win lane, win game, or like this very 1v1 mindset, which is a problem. And then here, I'm actually really glad that you sell your refillable, because I actually think it's way too late to buy refillable. You just get a pink ward. If you're going to get refillable, you got to get it like first base. Yeah. All right, next. Here, you're coming out of base, and then Aatrox actually sees them fighting on this. I don't understand why you don't just run here. Why do you not run to this fight ASAP? It doesn't matter. Give the CS. Like,
yeah.
I think they're playing for the fight, and then the fight's going on still, and then you eventually come. I think it's just a good habit to get into, to run to fights, or at least assess the fight, and then you can, on the way, so like ideally what you would do is right now, you would see Aatrox on the fight, I would keep my camera panned on the fight, then I would either communicate with pings telling them to back off, or I'm on my way, and I would keep my camera here, and just start walking there. Like when I'm on the way there, then you can decide, is this fight good for me or not? And then you can maybe go back to lane or whatever. So you need to communicate with pings there. Okay. So then let's fast forward this a little bit. You walk, you come back to lane, whatever. You push this wave in. Oh, Akali ends up getting a roam bot. You ping him off, whatever. So what do we see here? So we're 11 minutes, approaching 11 minutes 30 in the game. For some reason here, as well, you push this, you create this big wave, you spend your time getting a plate, which is fine because it was pretty close. But again, you have a bit of time. You see Shen top, you see the bot lane in the lane, you see Shen with no ultimate as well, you see Akali mid. There's no reason for you not to just walk into river here and actually start controlling vision and hovering bot. Look how far the wave is. The wave is only just coming out of your base. You can literally, what I would do right now is I would walk into river, put a pink ward in the tri-bush or the dot brush, clear pigs anything. I would maybe even put a deep ward on the raptors and just start hovering down into river there. And then if a fire breaks out, you're going to be there. But then if they see you, they're going to back off. Then your bot lane's going to get priority. So again, you're just sitting in the middle of the way in the lane, not really, again, not using your wards, not exerting any pressure, being very low impact. So I think that, and notice how even now, it's too late to play the lane like you are right now. It's too late to keep the wave on your side and play greedy. You got to start pushing and moving. You have to start exerting pressure on the map. Dragons are starting to come up. Rift Heralds are starting to come up. Priority means more than like kill threat at this point, because there's just so much going to be happening right now. The map's kind of starting to be... Look at this. Now you're keeping the wave on your side. You're freezing the wave on your side at 12 minutes. And it's not even freezing, it's just slow pushing. Now Akali just ditches and roams bot with his jungler. Yeah. And again, they wouldn't have been able to get that roam off if you had warded before. They wouldn't have been able to get this roam off if you'd been pushing and exerting pressure. You would have been able to counter... Malphite would have been able to see Jackson counter gank it. There is so many things now... that could have happened if you'd played this lane differently. And so you kind of see where I'm coming from, Zach, where yes, your laning is very good and your understanding of waves and your micro, and you can get these kills, but they don't lead to anything.
No.
You get kills, but they're very individual kills that they don't lead to towers, they don't lead to objectives, they don't lead to roams, they don't really lead to anything. Yeah. And this is all because, again, you're not exerting pressure, you're not getting control on the map, you're not utilizing your wards, you're not creating opportunities for you to invade with your jungler. Right now, you should just reset, by the way.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard for you.
I can get Ludens right now.
Exactly. You'd already get Ludens. So, all right. So anyway, let's fast forward this a little bit. You come back to lane. You got your Ludens.
I didn't even spend the extra gold that I waited for.
Yeah, you should have got a pink, 100%. You should always have a pink in your inventory. Always. And again, you're doing this thing, which, I mean, it's fine at this point. I mean, because your jungler's not in position, so it's good to have the wave on your side for a little bit. But notice here how hard it is for you to continue to punish this Akali, because you don't have hard vision on one side. You have a little bit of vision in this side bush, but you don't have it on the ramp. You don't have it in like you can't. Still, if Jax comes around that corner, you're still dead. Like you have no flash, you have no E. Like it's still gonna be tough for you. But now you're pushing. You don't really have a side that you're confidently able to lean on. And then you're pushing, and then you just, you kind of just die here. And I think you could have played this better. You just hold your E, but I still think it'd be rough. So, yeah, you can kind of see where I'm coming from for this one. So, now, let's fast forward this a bunch. And I want to get to mid-game, because this is where the crux of the crux of the problems kind of come into play.
Yeah.
So, we've kind of identified, the early to mid-game, some things that are some habits, some nasty habits with recalling, itemization, not exerting your pressure, etc. But this is where the meat of it gets quite... even then, even if you make those mistakes, you can still win in mid-game by doing the right thing. So... straight away here, what do we see? The team's grouping in mid. Your jungler's actually dead. And they're already in river, got full control. Your top lane is in base. And they just finished getting dragon. They just got dragon just then. Okay? So, when you're in mid game, it's all the positioning on the map, the lane you're in is of utmost importance. And how you decide where you need to be on the map is all around objectives. So, what do we see here? Mid tower's up. The bot tower's dead, I believe. Top tower's dead. And the next objective is Rift Herald, correct? Or mid tower and Rift Herald. And your jungler's not in the area. Your top lane is not anywhere near. So you need to use this information to decide what you're going to do. There's no reason for you to walk into river here and do anything. No. This is all a complete waste of time, right? Like, there's no way you can win this fight.
So just pause it for a section. We all, as soon as we see them all grip to dragon, and our jungle is dead, shouldn't we all go straight to Rift, take Rift? I clear top wave, and the rest of my team goes mid.
So what I actually think here, I think you guys trade this dragon for mid tower. So notice how they don't push mid out. Just I would put assist me ping on mid and push down mid. Look, they've given you the wave mid. Just hit mid tower. You literally go.
Time to get it?
Yeah, they've just got it now. You can, and it's really, really low. And the minions actually end up getting it by themselves. But you could have got the gold from mid tower. And then what I would do is I would make my way top. So I would say Kate mid, me top. I would get a deep ward on the blue buff, just out, like kind of outside the blue buff, because on the way through, because they're all bot side. And then I would collect that top wave. I would even you could even potentially steal the blue buff if they spend too long on bot side. And then I would begin to continually push out top, control top river, and play fights around this Rift Herald. That's what I would want to do. So, so again, we waste a lot of time here. And notice how this is, in my opinion, these sorts of plays are they're not replicable. Like, what you're doing now is not replicable. You can't do this in other games and it will work. Getting this kill through a Shen ult when your jungler's not anywhere near, looking for this play, like, I don't think it's the correct play. And even if you get a kill, like, I don't think it's a good habit to get into. And this is also the reason why I find in your games, you get ahead in early lane, and then the later the game is, your CS drops significantly.
Yeah.
Because you're not pushing the side lane.
Yeah,
and look at these scrappy fights happen where your jungler's doing blue buff. Your Caitlyn and you just create these really sloppy fights by not controlling the lane assignments, by not playing where you need to be. Because if you go top right now, and then your team's not going to be looking, and you can ping them back. They're not going to be looking for a fight around these Raptors if you're on top wave. Like, you can control the game by pinging with this. So yeah, this is also what happens. Anyway, the game is again in this weird position, and then what do we see? The first problem right now. This is the result of not taking control. Look at your bot lane. Your bot lane is in bot. Your AD carry and support are in bot lane when they should be mid, and no one's on mid wave. So what actually happens if you don't control the lane assignments in a game? Because, and this is what coaching actually does, and why you can climb so fast with coaching, is that your macro understanding is going to be so much better, and you're going to be able to control the game. So yes, you get this nice little kill here, but the reason you're not able to continually push your advantage is, look at this. No one's in mid. If your AD carry and support were mid and you told them to go mid, they would already be pushing this wave. You'd be able to continue to push top all the way out. You'd potentially be able to set up vision around this blue buff. You'd be able to get this Rift Scuttle. You'd be able to deny some of their camps. You'd be getting ridiculously far ahead of Akali.
If they send 2 people to me, then we instantly get mid.
Yeah, or they can continue to push down mid. But look at this. Yeah. Now Caitlyn and Janna on the opposite side of the map, where they're playing so far away from you, and it's really hard for the jungler to do anything because now he's completely split. He doesn't know where to go. If he goes one side, you die. If he goes the other side, they die. So yeah, it's really important the lane assignments are fixed, and this is also why you feel like you can't shove out again. Right now, what I would be doing is I would be pinging assist me on this blue buff. You see that for some reason the AD carry and support a bot. You want to be pushing these waves out deep. You want to be using your jungler and why your Aatrox is here to get control in river and deny blue buffs. You want to be pushing your lead. You just killed Akali here. And the reason you're defaulting to do Krugs right here is because you don't feel safe to push up. And the reason you don't feel safe to push up is because no one's moving into river with you. No one's pushing out with you and moving. Caitlyn's doing wolves on bot side. Yeah. And Aatrox is mid, not Caitlyn. Everything's all messed up.
Yeah.
That's why, as well, these games are just getting stalled out. So we'll kind of move on a little bit here. Fast forwarding. What do we got here? So play to push. Yeah, and again here. Your strategy right now, instead of looking to make a play here, it should just be push and move and get control of an area. So look at this. Yeah. Akali's bot, your jungler is the Malphite who's bot right now. He's looking to collapse on Akali. After you push this wave, we should be looking to play in accordance with the location of your jungler. The dragon is coming up in about 30 seconds. If you get control around that area, they can't walk in because you're just going to one-shot whoever walks in, right? And then Malphite can combo, and you actually win a team fight later in this game because you play around the objective. But now doing these sorts of plays, again, it's not replicable. There's no advantage. It's just you're just running at them. It's getting really messy. Your Malphite's bot, your Janna's bot, things are getting out of control. Now you don't have ultimate and you don't have flash for a dragon fight as well. Yeah. And fast forwarding a little bit before we kind of move on to the next VOD. Notice here, we're heading into seriously mid to late game right now, 25 minutes in. Your Caitlyn is still shoving out bot.
Yeah.
Look at how cooked these lane assignments are. Yeah. We're 26 minutes in, your Aatrox is mid with Malphite ulting with Baron, and your Kate Janna are at tier 2 a bot. You can literally win and I remember when I played, if I play on a Smurf in this ELO, I literally win games by telling people where to go.
Yeah.
If I type in chat, AD carry go mid, and then lean topside, help me push out topside, I literally get ridiculously far ahead of my opponent. We get control, and that control leads to picks, and the game just feels so much easier because then, Zach, if you get a kill on topside, right, and say the enemy AD carries an idiot and goes bot, you get a kill on topside, you can literally do Baron. But you do these things, and you're in these weird positions where nothing happens. The game just stalls out.
Yeah, it does every single game.
Every single game, and this is why games in gold.
Yeah, forever.
And look at this. You're looking at kills in top lane when you're AD carry and support a bot. You're flashing and trying to kill people, and these kills can't even do anything anyway. Even if you get someone here, what does it lead to? Your team's bot. You can't do Baron. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
And then you just lose the game here. You literally just get Baron. So it's game over. So the game was the exact same from 14 minutes to 27 minutes. Nothing happened.
Yeah, correct.
So Zach, I'm giving you the recipe. SpongeBob, the secret formula, the Krabby Patty formula. This is the secret formula. If you can implement this in your games, it's gonna be free low. This is what I'm telling you. You've done the hard work. Your micro is spot on. You really know how to play waves. look back on this VOD, like when I do upload it, and really look at what I was talking about when the first portion of this video about translating your pressure, using your vision, using your actually pushing your leads, having an intention with your wave every single time. Then join this with the mid to late game stuff where you're talking about controlling lane assignments, using pings to communicate with your team. And the reason you want to do this again is when you're stronger than your opponent, which you are most games on Syndra, you're going to be able to push out the side lane. You're going to dominate whoever shows up there. You're going to get even more ahead. You're going to get kills around top river. It's going to lead to objectives, and then you're going to end games within 30 minutes. All right. So what we're going to do is I want to go into this next game. I don't know how long we've been bloody talking for. How long have we been talking for?
Since 11:09. This is the cool thing.
Okay, we'll keep smashing this out. I think this is important stuff to talk about. Yeah. So this VOD here is a game where you versus Ziggs.
Yeah.
So this one. So you have any questions, by the way, before we move on?
No, I get it.
You get it? Cool.
Yeah.
So here, actually, before I've actually seen a bit of a nasty habit, and this is a little micro thing with laning, and I know I didn't want to talk about it much, but I think this is worth highlighting. And and to give a bit of context, I think this specific VOD level 1 and 2 highlights it the most. So I always find you struggle versus long range champions like Victor, Ziggs, these champions, and I'm always thinking, well, you're Syndra. Why is that the case? And I think for everyone out there watching this VOD and learning, Zach here as well has this problem. I think this is a really common problem. Look at this. So when you verse long range mages, level 1 that have poke, Xerath, Vel'Koz, Victor, Ziggs, any of these champions, the biggest problem I see is, look at this. You don't push them in. And if you don't push these long range mages in level 1, what they will do is if they ever get a minion advantage, they don't have to make a choice between hitting the wave and you. They can only focus on poking you. So in this specific example, you're not hitting the wave, whatever. You're not autoing the wave, and Victor's using abilities on the wave or whatever, or just getting the wave advantage. Yes, this makes Victor more vulnerable, but majority of games, your jungler's not going to be able to level 2, level 3 gank this guy, and your jungler's not even going to be good enough to do that in these low elos. So what you need to do, and look what happens because of this. Now Victor's like, okay, he chucks a ward in this side bush. He's got the minion advantage. He get level 2 before you, gets a Q poke, auto E. Now what happens is that, now look how hard it is for you to poke. Because you have to focus on CS. He can walk up, poke you from a distance, and he doesn't have to make a decision. He knows that it's so much easier for him to, because he doesn't have to focus on hitting CS, and he can only focus on hitting you. And now you're in this really tough position, and you kind of bring it back a little bit. And what I recommend, and how this whole lane will be so much easier, if level 1, you hit the wave, you make sure you queue them, but you're constantly hitting the wave. If you're in their face and you have the minion advantage, they're either going to miss so much CS because they're using it on you, or and you can focus all your time poking them. So it's really important that you get the minion advantage versus these matchups, and then have a ward to one side and just lean and play very aggressive. Otherwise, you will get screwed over. And you do it well in this Ziggs one, and like level 1 here. You actually.
Well, I dodge a lot of Ziggs stuff this game.
Well, okay, so this one here,
He misses a lot.
Okay, it's kind of different with Ziggs because...
And he's kind of shorter range too.
Yeah, he's shorter range, so it's hard to break. You can actually just win the trade. But one really important thing you can do is, versus Victor as well, is stand away from the minions. I can't draw here, but stand away from the minions so he can't push the minions and hit you. Make him make a choice between the minions and you, which is important. And you kind of do it this game, but... you want to make him make a choice. And here you kind of get a really big advantage level 1 here, which is good. So does that make sense, though, with the Victor thing? Like, why you struggle versus Victor? Like, try that in your next games, and I promise you it'll be completely different.
Okay.
So, here, I'm not going to talk about the micro. Well, I'm not going to talk about this because, like, again, it's as easy for you to understand what's going wrong. Like, if you just wait to level 2 as well, like, you pump him. But anyway, you get his flash. Should be timing the flash, so on and so forth. He bases, you keep the wave here, you've got a pretty good lead. So let's fast forward this a little bit. Like again, this early laning phase, you're pretty solid on this. One tip here for setting up ganks: you should be on the positioning on the other side of the lane here.
Yeah.
So if you position on this bot side, if you position
them the other way,
exactly. If you notice how when you're on this side, it's actually pushing Ziggs to the bot side of the lane like this. So you should actually be on the other side, and it's going to direct Ziggs onto the top side of the lane, which is going to make it a lot easier.
In higher elo, do they know that, and so they would just play on the same side?
Nah, they still do it.
Oh, they still do it.
Yeah. well, the thing is, it's a lose-lose for them, right? Because the reason this happens in the first place is because
so they can dodge your skill shots.
Exactly, they're creating space for skill shots, but if they're on the same side, they just get screwed anyway. So it's a lose-lose situation. At that point, they need to respect and give them push. He should just be giving you push. That's what he should be doing. If he was a good player, they just give you push because they know I'm just weaker. Anyway, that's the first thing. Now first thing we'll talk about is itemization. You have 1,100 gold here. You have a lot of different options. So what is the thing that we should 100% be seeing? A refillable and a pink. They're the 100%, right?
Yeah.
I really disagree with double amp tomb. When you got a kill already in the early game, I personally recommend Dark Seal over an amp tomb.
Yeah.
Because Dark Seal, again, is a snowball item, and you're already...
You get like 15 AP from it anyway, right?
Yeah, I don't know the number, but it's close.
It's close.
It's close, but it's just... It's just such a good snowball item when you're ahead like this. And I think that already you're double his CS. You've already killed him. You've already killed him and you've blown his flash. Like, you're going to snowball this game.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where... And you were actually duo with this Rek'Sai this game. So there's actually so much you could have done this game to snowball this game absolutely out of control. So it's fine. You come back to lane here. You kind of got to give push a little bit, which is not a big deal. All right. So I remember here in this specific situation, you have a pink ward and you have, again, it's 5 minutes 30 and you have 2 trinket wards.
I'm yet to place, yeah.
You're yet to place. So the way I was thinking this was, look at your Rek'Sai. He's invading, he actually positions into river like this, and he's actually positioning onto the bot side, looking to invade bot side jungle. In these situations, I actually love pushing and helping the team. If you actually had panned your camera bot, I think you do pan your camera bot, you two could have actually just dove bot here. Look at this.
Definitely.
I think you pan it in a bit. When do you pan your camera? Look at that. Bang. So your bot is actually hard pushing. You have a Kate Morgana. Your Rek'Sai's done a vertical jungle here, is invading the jungle.
Oh, this is so free. What are we
exactly.
doing?
So if you push again, and this needs the reason, and I don't want to say this in a sense that like I want to teach you things that are replicable, and why this is, and how you will see this in further games is, especially once you've got a kill and when you're duo with, and you see your jungler doing any of these aggressive paths. This is the sign. The sign that you need to look for is when you see the jungler do an aggressive path like this, I strongly recommend pushing and backing them up and doing something. Whether it's you going into the jungle with the Rek'Sai to pick the enemy jungler, whether it's you going in there to get some really deep vision, whether it's you setting up a dive bot. It's very rare that I would do this in this situation. Just hold the wave here and like it doesn't... I just don't like doing this. I feel like it's the least pressuring of the options, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you, again, the common theme here is that you're very much playing for the 1v1. You're not playing to exert your pressure. You're already, super far ahead of the Ziggs. And what is Ziggs' weakness, Zach? Ziggs doesn't want to walk into river, right? This is why Ziggs is not good in solo queue, because Ziggs can't walk into river. But you are ahead. If you put a pink ward in the river, you ward over the wall. If Ziggs even walks anywhere remotely close, you can either kill him with Rek'Sai, or he can't follow the roam and you get to dive sides. So either way, by you staying in the lane, it is fine because you can poke him and whatever, but you're not abusing the fact that he can't follow you and he can't follow your roams, and you can just shit on side lanes. Yeah. With your duo Rek'Sai. So
down there right now.
Exactly. If you were down here, you would be, you would have dove them, or you would have been able to kill them way earlier or whatever. And my only problem with this, we already know Echo's topside, most likely. Yeah. Because Rek'Sai just came from the bot side jungle here, right?
Yeah.
So there's no reason to ward topside. In my opinion, I would actually be pinking bot river and clearing up the way. And what I would do is, since it looks like where your jungler's done a vertical path, if you put a deep ward, if you see my cursor out like here.
I can't see your cursor.
Ah, shit. Okay. Well, you know, the kind of like outside the wolves, like, you know, the entrance into bot side jungle?
Yes.
That like there. So if you put a ward there, then you'll see if Echo walks into bot side jungle. What I would actually do, I love committing my wards to one side. It's very rare that I'll ward both sides. So if I pink bot side, I'm pinking bot side because I know I want to roam to that side, because you have a Kate Morgana and your jungler's doing vertical path bot side, which is going to clear up a path for you to roam. And also, by putting my wards deeper in that jungle, if I see Echo walk into that jungle, I know I can walk in and assassinate him. So that's the other thing. So I don't really agree with warding topside like this. I kind of way prefer to be bot side. But anyway, and the other problem with this and playing like you are now is that your jungler's making plays on the side lane and you're trying to pressure Ziggs. So, you know, he's not going to be there to back you up.
Yeah.
And anyway, fast forwarding this, you make a really good, nice little play onto this Echo. You pick him in the jungle. Nice little kill here. This was really well done. Really well done. So you come back here, you push this next wave, and then you recall. And this is where the shit show starts again, Zach. Why do you get blasting wand and not finish your lost chapter?
There's more damage.
Oh my goodness gracious. Lost chapter is the list.
But what's okay? So lost chapter is gonna give me the mana regen.
It gives you mana. And it gives you CDR, right?
10%, yeah.
Okay, it gives you 10% CDR. It gives you mana.
I already have blue.
Man,
that doesn't help my argument.
And I don't know, man. Like I just think finishing Lost Chapter is way better. Like.
And then what? A Dark Seal, something.
I would go. So
I could even go blasting one and a Dark Seal here, and just wait like 20 gold.
I would go Lost Chapter. I'd probably go Lost Chapter, boots, and a pink. Or Lost Chapter, Dark Seal, and a pink. Either of them. I hate this itemization because, again, think about it. You're going to be in the lane for a while now. You're super strong. You don't want to recall. And look what happens. Fast forwarding, you come back to lane. Ziggs ults the wave. You're here. You do this nice little roam. These hovers are really, really good. This is what I want you to do more of. You actually hover bot. Nothing happens, but then you come back mid. You shove the next wave. And then you recall again. Look at this. You shove.
Yeah, because I want my lost chapter.
Because you want your lost chapter.
Yeah.
So think about Ford versus Ferrari. You think that, in a race, they're going to be recalling twice within 2 minutes? It's like, now look what happens. You're super strong. You've got a kill. You've got all this strength. You've got ultimate. You've got flash. There is a million things you can...
Yeah, I'm like huge.
There's a million things you can be doing on the map right now, but you literally base and recall within the space of 2 minutes. Twice within the space of 2 minutes, pretty much. And you could have been getting, you've got all this pressure, and this is your bad habit. This is this nasty habit. And I think that if you got Lost Chapter, you can stay in lane for longer. You can be exerting pressure, and this is going to help you dive sides. This is going to help you get deep vision, picking echo. There's so many things you can be doing. So yeah, that's a bit of a nasty habit there. And again here, so you base, you recall, you come back. Ziggs is just ulting waves, and that's fine. If he wants to ult waves, then it's fine. He's just not going to interact. You push the wave and you roam. Leave him. So here you kill this cannon. Just run straight top right now. I'd run straight top and kill this Fiora. Okay, you go bot here. The reason I default to going... Okay, you can defend bot, but the reason... if I see this situation... Where is it? I see this situation... I'm like, they're probably dead. Like, I'm thinking they're probably dead. Yeah. So, but if you lean top, your Rek'Sai's just gotten Rift Herald. You can kill the Fiora, and you can just Rift top. And then it's in a race. And then you just hardcore win the race. That's my opinion. But either way, it's not too bad. But again, I think it's a good habit to get into is playing towards your jungler. So let's skip forward a few minutes. I want to skip forward a few minutes and get to the mid game. So this is where all the juicy stuff happens. So to give a bit of context, Rek'Sai ends up rift tearing mid. You kill mid tower. This is absolutely like if I see this situation, you've got mid tower 113 CS by 13 minutes. You're 2-0-2. You can 1v5. This is a 1v5 game, no matter what. Your Rek'Sai 7-2. Like, you and Rek'Sai can 2v5, sorry.
Did
like,
we lose this game?
You lost this game.
Oh, God.
So this is where I'm going to give you the secret Krabby Patty formula, right?
Yeah.
So how do we snowball?
Yeah.
So you've got mid tower. Already, right now, after this wave, I would not be moving here. I would be
dangerous as hell.
Well, it's not even dangerous. You see Echo top, but the main reason is it's not doing anything. Ziggs is going to show up any second. You should already be looking to lean onto one side and continue to get some deep vision. You've got 2 pink wards. You've got a trinket. I'd walk straight into the bot jungle here and get a ward onto the blue buff. Put a pink ward on the side there. Like, I'll do anything but this. This is just a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
Anyway. So then you walk in, you move your pink ward, which I think is good, and then you get a ward here. The problem with this play, in my opinion, is that you want to keep Ziggs pushed in. So look at why I don't like this play for 2 reasons. You take so long to do this play because you already walked the wave up all the way here. If you did this play straight away, you pushed and then moved, it would be fine because maybe you're going to have a lot more time, right? Because think about it. The wave hasn't even come out of your base yet. So you're going to have a lot more time to make this play. But now because you do this...
By the time I get there, the wave's already touching in mid,
The waves, the wave's already coming out and then you make the play. And then also your jungler is on bot side, clearing his bot side jungle. Either I would tell my jungler to come here and dive bot. So you could have communicated this ages ago, literally ping your jungler to come bot. Or if he doesn't want to do that, I'll just put a ward here and I would get ready to sit in mid for this next wave and then do rinse and repeat. Because I know the next objective is this dragon, right? Because we're thinking about objectives. The next objective is this dragon. If you consistently push mid, control bot side vision, and then constantly lean onto bot side, you get dragon for free, and then it's going to result in getting bot tower as well. So this whole play, why they were very cautious is because you weren't showing on mid lane, Zach. That's why they were so scared. It's like, where the hell is Syndra? He's not showing on mid,
Yeah.
So there's no surprise factor. So Ziggs shoves in mid, and then you feel like you have to respond mid. And so it's important to shove mid before you look for objectives because, again, you're going to see them more and it's going to make them react. Anyway, so again, notice how your first, your go-to your thought process should be, okay, I'm going to be pushing, I want to be leaning onto the side of the next objective, and I want to be controlling vision to look for a pick. So now you're leaning onto the bot side, which is great for this dragon. You get this awesome, water dragon. It's good. Great. Fast forwarding a little bit. You lean bot side here. You end up scaring them off bot. I don't mind this. You end up killing Zyra here as well. You get bot tower. So this is all really good. You're using your pressure mid, exerting it around the map, breaking towers, which is snowballing the game. This is fine. Fast forwarding a little bit. You recall. Now, this is where it turns to shit. What should be looking to happen now?
Well, next big objective is Rift.
Yep.
Because Yask just got top.
Yep. But what's the most important thing? You should be telling Caitlyn to go mid.
Yeah.
And you should be. What I would be doing is probably catching this one wave, telling Caitlyn to go mid, and then I would be heading top. I would even probably catch this next wave like you're doing now, and I'd be moving my vision onto top side. I'd be moving my wards, my pink wards, everything onto top side right now. And Caitlyn again, because no one's telling Caitlyn what to do. I don't know what the hell just happened there. What the hell just happened there? Jesus. All right. Fast forwarding a little bit. So I'd be telling Caitlyn to go mid. And these players don't know what they're doing, Zach. And this is, again, you can control the map. By telling Caitlyn to go mid and you going top and Yasuo bot, what's going to happen, you're going to be able to shove up top. And you and Rek'Sai are going to be able to control vision around here. You're going to secure Rift Herald, and then you're going to be able to snowball this game out of control. So again, this happens. Eventually, you get this Rift Herald. But again, for some reason, Caitlyn's bot, Yasuo's top. And what this does is because when you see your Caitlyn bot, after you get this Rift Herald, your default response is that I have to go mid and just siege mid for some reason because I can't go top because my Caitlyn's bot. What I would be doing is I would, again, be telling Caitlyn to go mid, and if not, let Yasuo catch mid wave. And right now, I'd be going straight top because you can't siege mid, right?
For me to play against or no?
Sorry?
Isn't Fiora a bit difficult for me to play
No
against?
way. You destroy, because think about it. You destroy Fiora, and it's not like Fiora can kill you because, again, Rek'Sai should be hovering you. This is the whole point. You should be, you and Rek'Sai duo, or even your jungler, you ping a system in here, you get deep vision on the way, leave your Caitlyn, like, he's not going to be able to do anything. He needs to be mid. Then, you push out top all the way, you're starting to get insane farm, because again, remember, Zach, it's very hard to siege a tier 2 tower in general, let alone versus Ziggs.
I haven't got any farm in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's the other thing as well. So, this is where your games stall out. Look, you come mid randomly, Caitlyn's just randomly in bot lane. You rock up to this tower and you're like, oh, guys, like, I'm here. It's so hard to get a tier 2 tower like this. You need to be pushing and moving to sides. Because why is that important? Because look at all the area in the jungle. That's where picks are made, Zach. By pushing and moving, you control vision, and that's where picks are made. Because they're going to have to react to waves. They're going to have to move through the jungle. That's where things happen. So,
right.
This is where it all starts to go to shit here. So, like, the lane assignments are absolutely screwed. Everyone's just dying. We're not really playing for an objective. No one knows what they're doing. We're just sitting here. Fiora's just getting tier 3 towers and shit. We're getting kills, but the kills don't lead to anything. So this whole thing's a shit. Turns into an absolute shit show.
Yeah.
And because no one's controlling the lane assignments, Caitlyn's consistently going bot. And you know why the Caitlyn's going bot, Zach? It's because you're going mid.
Okay.
That's why. Every game I see you play, you go mid, you share XP. Either the AD goes mid and you share XP and get extremely far behind, or the AD carries like, fuck, well, the mid's just taking mid farm. I need to go get farm somewhere, so I'm going to go to the side. It should be the other way round. You should go to the side. You can go mid first, get control, then go to the side. Or if you feel like you're strong enough and safe enough and have enough control, you can go straight away to the side and push it out yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then look at this. Like, this continues. You know, you get this dragon, which is good. You play for these objectives, which is fine. But we're skipping it forward. We're getting into 22 minutes 45. Caitlyn's going bot again. This is exact same as the other game.
Yeah.
Look, your Caitlyn's bot versus an Echo jungle, and the jungle shows bot, but it doesn't matter. If your AD carry was top here, you can literally just do Baron, and you're just playing for kills. But the kills don't look. You even if you go top here and you poke out Fiora, what's it gonna do? You can't do Baron anyway, or it's a lot harder to do Baron because
we don't have an AD.
We don't have an AD carry. You haven't shoved out the wave, and the reason why shoving out the waves is important. Look at where the top wave position is and the mid wave position is, Zach. The mid wave is just sitting in the middle there. The top wave is not even past where your tier 1 was. Yeah. And what does that mean? It means what? It means it's way harder to move your vision line forward because the waves are pushing way past the vision line, which means they see safety. The enemy sees safety.
Yep.
So this is where it all gets screwed, and this is where your games fall apart every single time. Then the game just fast forwarding where the kills don't lead to anything. We're just randomly going mid. The sideways aren't pushed out. Their jungle can sit bot, and nothing can happen anyway. And then you just get the games turn into coin flip. It's not in your control anymore.
Yeah.
So to round this session up, Zach, I think there are a lot of positives to take away from your gameplay. I think you're laning and you've done all the hard bits. Like when I do coaching in the past, people struggle with the laning. They don't know how to get leads. You are getting leads. And this is why I genuinely think if you can implement this stuff, watch over this VOD. I'm going to post this VOD on my YouTube. Yeah. Watch over this VOD. Really get into the notes. And for me, if I were to summarize this, a few key things. Ward usage. Translating pressure. Rather than thinking about your lane as a 1v1, thinking about how can I translate my lead? How can I translate my pressure? 2, once it gets into mid game, I want you to control lane assignments. Tell people where to go. Tell your AD carry to go mid. Then start to push out the sides. Then push out the sides, then group. And then if you push out the sides, then group, you're going to be so far ahead of the enemy mid laner because the enemy mid laner is not going to go to the side. They're going to get that's where you get 3 level differences. Yeah, look over the VOD. And if you have any questions, make sure to like just message me on Discord or whatever. And you combine this with your strong laning, it is going to be absolutely freelo. Honestly, you're gonna be the type of player that skips like platinum or something, or like you're gonna be the player that goes from like gold 4 to like plat 2 in a short period of time because you have the laning already down pat. So, yeah, do you have any questions before? I know this is a bit of a long session.
No, it's alright. There's a lot of stuff that, like a lot of the stuff I used to know and do, but it's just like I've obviously forgotten it.
Yeah.
And then so when you bring up these things, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing.
Gotcha.
That needs to be happening. Yeah.
And I think that sometimes, this is a lot to take in. And this is not something I expect that you're going to go into the next game and you're going to be, guys, I'm a challenger player macro. I understand what to do, guys. It won't be like that. It will be slowly. It'll be, after one game, be like, oh, okay, that does make a little bit of sense. And slowly, you'll be able to slowly implement these things. But where it starts is knowledge, because you can't do something that you don't know. Like, you can't do what you don't know in a way. So,
and also, how important are dragons? I feel like with the state, and also Rift's getting buffed this patch. But anyway, I feel like Rifts are way better than Dragon right now. In my I don't know.
In my game,
kind of nerfed them. So
in my games, personally, dragons do matter because
at that point, people are like that 6% or the whatever percent is like the difference between winning or losing like a fight.
Well,
they're a lot closer, aren't they?
For me personally, it's actually not about the stats they give you. It's the stacking of them. So like I always find in my games that the team that has 3 dragons, once the 4th dragon spawns, like they have such an advantage because the enemy team has to do everything they can to contest, and then they have to take a bad fight sometimes just to contest it,
Right. Yeah.
I actually find my games getting to the point where it does get to the soul dragon, and then people get like chaotic, and then they get tilted when the enemy team gets the 4th one, even though it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, because I don't think the buffs are like, unless like I know
the ocean and the infernal one are pretty good, but yeah, like
it depends on like obviously your champ pool. Like if you have a lot of clouds and you're like Cathodon or whatever,
yeah,
it's crazy. But like most of the time, I think Dragon's pretty especially if you get multiple charges out of a Rift. The value of that seems significantly higher.
Well, I think if you are duo with someone, then I think Rift is OP. But I think in your elo, no one uses Rift Herald properly.
Yeah.
So in your elo, I think dragons are way more important because the games get stalled out every single time.
Yeah.
So if you're the team stacking the dragons, you're going to most likely win the game, in my opinion.
Okay. Cool.
So that's what I would say. But in high elo, I think Rift Herald is way better. But I think worried about that for a while. I wouldn't worry about that.
All right.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks for the session, Zach. And if you have any questions about what we spoke about, just let me know. And I think I'll be I'll upload. It's okay to upload this one, right? You're good with that. Cool. Yeah, keep me updated, and I'll be tuning into your stream. All right.
Okay. Cool. See you, man.
See you, Zach. Bye.